Good morning guys and welcome back to Hikelopedia. Today I'm pretty excited as it's my first official episode out on the road back in Taiwan. And so I thought for this episode I'd give you a little tour of my new hometown in Shinju and the surrounding areas. And I'm quite lucky because the first stop is basically just 5 minutes away from where I live. And it's over there, so let's go and check it out. Now you may think of a temple as a peaceful place, especially this one, as it's dedicated to the worship of Buddhas Guanyin and Sakyamuni amongst others. But its history is also littered with examples of its involvement in fighting and war. According to the signboard here, this temple was used by the Chinese forces during their battles with Taiwan's indigenous population in and around the late 18th century. Yes, for those of you who don't know, Taiwan's history is a little bit similar to that of other parts of the world that were colonized, namely North and South America and Australia. Taiwan was home to Austronesian people long before Chinese immigration began in the 17th century. As the Han arrived in ever larger numbers, disputes over land resulted in conflict, and over time the indigenous people were either assimilated into the Han culture or dislodged from their original lands. Nowadays, indigenous people make up around 2.5% of Taiwan's population and live in mainly mountainous and remote regions in central and eastern Taiwan. This temple and the surrounding areas were also the scene of conflict between Hakka militias and the invading Japanese forces in 1895 following the signing of the Treaty of Shimonoseki. Jinshan was used as a resistance base by those Hakka militias as they fought to try and stop the Japanese armed forces from occupying the island. Known as the Eway Wars, several clashes occurred in this region, and during one battle, this temple was burnt down. It was promptly rebuilt a year later, and after several further rounds of renovation, it became what it is today. Okay, all this history is making me hungry. Let's go and get a little breakfast. So I'm here at my local market. It's about 10 minutes from where I live via bicycle, and it's one thing I really missed about when I was in Singapore was going to the local market, because we had a helper and she would do all the shopping, so I never really got the chance to go. So now we're back in Taiwan. I'm really looking forward to getting to know the vendors.
就可以啊。哦，这种加粉。我用称重的。好，这种。
I really love the traditional markets. Previously, when I lived in Taipei, I got to know all the vendors at my local market and struck up quite friendly relations with them. For example, the butcher, where I bought my meat from. One day I told him I was buying some meat to make sausages. So he actually offered to put the meat into the skins and help me make the sausages. And that was really cool. Another local food that I absolutely love is Shalom Bao, and there's a place over here that looks super busy. There's a long line, so I'm gonna go and join that line. 一笼小笼包，还有一杯冰粥蒸。好。 Alright, so I bought Ilong Shalom Bao, which is one basket of steamed dumplings. There's 10 in one basket and it's 65 NT dollars or about 2 US dollars. So it's pretty cheap. Let's give them a try and see what they taste like. Oh, super hot. Nice. Inside you've got the pork and green onions, and as the pork cooks the juice comes out, and you've got the chewy pastry. It's really good. Really tasty and super cheap too. Okay, I'm done with breakfast now. Let's head off into Shinju City. Welcome to Shinju City. Now I must be honest, when I found out we were moving here, I was a bit skeptical at first because in my previous time in Taiwan I'd only been to Shinju once or twice before and I had the impression that it was kind of a bit of a dump, but after being here for a few weeks now, I've changed my opinion of it. It's actually not a bad city. For a start, there's not so many people here as Taipei, and actually it's quite livable. So let's go and have a look at the historical side of Shinju City. Now originally I wanted to stand down there and talk about the east gate of Shinju, but there's some kind of activity going on this weekend and I can't go down there, so I'm going to find another quiet spot to tell you about. The east gate, which is just over there behind the trees, is the historical center of modern day Shinju. Originally known as Zhuqian, the first wall was built around the city using thorny bamboo in 1733. It was upgraded to an earthen wall in 1806 and then again to a stone wall with 4 gates in 1829 as authorities tried to prevent conflicts between Taiwan's Fujian and Guangdong natives. The East Gate, known in Chinese as the Yingximen or Sunlight Greeting Gate, is now the only part of the old city defences that remains. The walls and the other 3 gates were torn down in 1902 on the orders of the Japanese colonial authorities as the city underwent redevelopment. And following some recent redevelopment, we've now got this pretty little stream that runs from the East Gate over there through part of the city centre, and it really is a pleasant place to hang out during a hot summer's day like today. And I believe that this stream was once the moat that formed part of the city's defences and ran around the outside of the city's walls. I may be wrong, you can correct me on that if I am. Another interesting building in the city centre is this one behind me, Shinju Railway Station, which was completed in 1913, also during the Japanese colonial period. Famous for incorporating Baroque features into his designs, the architect Matsugasaki Tsumunaga was also responsible for several other iconic buildings in Taiwan, including the old Keelung Railway Station, Taipei's Railway Administration Building, and the old Shimen Market, now known as the Honglo Building. I've only been away from Singapore for a few weeks, but I'm already missing Southeast Asian style food. But luckily I managed to find a Southeast Asian style restaurant here in Shinju. So let's go inside and check it out. Alright, so I just finished my meal over at Pondok Sunny. You can see the sign over there in the background, and I thought I'd give you my thoughts on it before I forget. So I ordered a beef rendang set meal, and it came with a soup and a vegetable side dish, and of course some ikan bilis and peanuts. And overall, the rendang was really tasty, but it wasn't spicy at all, which is kind of, I don't know, I'm used to it being spicy, so it kind of was a bit surprising for me. But I guess that the meal and the restaurant has kind of Taiwanese-sized a little bit to suit local people's tastes here, because a lot of people in Taiwan don't eat too spicy, and that was also reflected in the side dishes as well. The vegetables, there was broccoli and pumpkin. They were very kind of like Taiwan style side dishes. And the ikan bilis and peanuts also had candied peanut in there, big chunks of candied peanut in there. And I'm not sure if that's a Southeast Asian thing, but I never had it in Singapore, so that was also a bit unusual for me. The sour soup was really nice, and I also got a drink. I got a tamarind drink because the guy told me that it wouldn't be so sweet, but oh my god, it was super sweet. I mean, it had the tamarind taste of course, but there was a lot of sugar in that drink as well. But overall, the restaurant itself is really nice inside. All the cutlery and everything is really high quality, and the food itself was very nice, very good quality ingredients, very tasty. So overall, it was an enjoyable meal, although for me, I'm saying this as somebody who's just come from Singapore, it didn't taste very authentic, but that's just me. But again, it was pretty expensive. $440 for the rendang set meal, the drink, and I also got my favorite pisang goreng, fried bananas, and that was also pretty good. I mean, the bananas were nice, the batter was nice, but again for me it was very sweet. There was kind of palm sugar sauce on top and lots of peanuts. It was very tasty and I enjoyed it, but again, a little bit too sweet for me. So overall, I think it's a really nice restaurant, and I would definitely say you should come here and try it. Out of 5, I'd probably give it 4, I think. So if you're ever in Shinju and you feel like a bit of Southeast Asian food, then come and check it out. Okay guys, I'm here in Shinju Park and this is the end of today's short tour of my new hometown. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed making it, and yeah, so if you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Give me a like, and you can always subscribe if you so wish. And if you really would like to catch all my adventures every Saturday morning, then you can always hit the bell for notifications. Now, before I go, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all my new subscribers and old subscribers, and of course everybody who bought me a coffee. Really appreciate your support and your generosity. It makes a big difference for me. And also this week, just a quick shout out to the lovely Singaporean lady who provided the music for today's video. I'll put the links down below in the description, so if you like the music you can go and check out some of the playlists on Spotify. And that's it. So next week we are going to be out and about in the countryside, and maybe a little bit of mountain climbing for you to enjoy. So that's it guys, I'll see you next time. Take it easy. Over and out.